listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. Hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. It's a great time to be with your family and to remember those that have sacrificed so much for our country and continue to sacrifice for our country. We have so many people deployed overseas and around the country who work hard for us every day, and they don't get to take the holidays off. They work through the holidays, and it's just really great that we live in a free country, free society. And you hear a lot in the news right now about all that's going on with this administration and what's happening with veterans and veteran organizations, the Department of Veterans Affairs. And it's very disheartening, but I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people around the Houston area who really support our veterans. And that's what we're focusing on this week on Houston Real Estate Radio. We've gone around the city talking to different sports teams. We've talked to the Astros, the Dynamos. And this segment, we're going to be talking with the Houston Texans, Chris Myers. He called into the show. Chris, thanks so much for calling in. Chris is the center for the Houston Texans. We're so excited to have you here on Houston Real Estate Radio.
I appreciate you guys having me.
I know that you're affiliated with many of the different military organizations, or many of the organizations out there that support the military. Tell us a little bit about the organizations that you're involved in and what kind of change you've seen happening with veterans in our area.
Yeah, kind of my involvement with, just veterans and currently serving, not just vets, but, I was, growing up, both my grandfathers served, and, just hearing stories from them over the years.
He's a World War II vet, right? Isn't your grandfather a World War II?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he is on my mom's side, and he was able to tell me tons of stories from when he served, and kind of growing up, I was a big, huge military history buff, especially U.S. military history, so I always had a passion for it. Coming out of high school, if I didn't get a scholarship to play football, I was definitely enlisting to serve, especially in the Marines. That was kind of my passion. So, when I did get, obviously, I was fortunate to get a scholarship to play. When I knew I was going to be able to make it to the NFL and get a chance to be able to give back, vets and currently serving is where I wanted to be able to spend most of my time and efforts. And, being here in Houston for the past, 7 years now, we really focused in our time with Impact the Hero. They have a huge weekend that actually just finished last weekend, and we had a great 3 days of fundraising and being able to kind of show our appreciation for the men and women who serve our country.
I really appreciate you sharing that story with us, because right now, there are a lot of people who are seniors in high school getting ready to graduate. They've got plans for the future. Not all of them have plans, though. Not all of them have signed up for college, and some of them are still trying to make those decisions, where they're going to go and what they're going to do. This is kind of that time of year when everyone's thinking about that, especially the juniors in high school right now are thinking about that. What are they going to do? And, it is so important that we have young people who are ready to go into the military when they graduate from high school. I mean, it is something that we need. We have to have young people who are willing to do that, to dedicate their lives to the military. And, it's important, and it's a great cause. And there's so much that you can learn through being in the military that you'll take out into the world with you, whatever your career is after the military.
I fully agree. I think it speaks a lot for the character of the young men and women when they're coming out of high school at 18 years old, to being able to go and be the ones that are protecting our country. And it does sound kind of daunting of a task when you're sitting there at 18 years old and you haven't even gotten out in the world yet, and you're operating machinery and guns and flying planes and all that kind of stuff when you're just fresh out of high school. But it's definitely not for everyone. But I definitely think if you're in that line of business and you do decide to be able to protect our country and let the people like us just sitting here on the phone doing an interview kind of do what we do in freedom and not having to worry about things going on outside. I think sometimes in our everyday lives, a lot of us be able to take things for granted sometimes.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately that's the case in a lot of people's lives, and we have to sit back, and it shouldn't just be 1 or 2 holidays a year that we're showing our appreciation.
That's right.
Should be done a lot more often, and I try and do it as much as possible for the men and women serving our country, because it's definitely a very daunting task, like I said, and it's not for everyone, but the people that do it, hats off to them, because much respect is due.
And I still love that they play the national anthem at the games, at the sports games. I love that. I love that we still have so much patriotism in our sports teams.
Yeah, and especially here in Houston, Bob McNair and his wife Janice, are huge on being able to kind of show their respect for all lines of the military. And when we are able to kind of get the men and women out to our practices, our games, whatever it may be, we treat them with the most of class, which they deserve. They kind of come out and they're loving being able to be a part of the football team and sit there, take pictures, meet everybody, and sign autographs. And for me personally, it's the opposite. I'm enjoying seeing them and talking to them, and they want to ask all questions about football, but I'm sitting there asking them all the questions about what they do because I'm in awe of what they do. And I think it's a real fair trade for me, and it's fun, and I really, really enjoy listening to what they have to say, all their different missions they've done, and where they've been in the world, and kind of just how they treat their jobs. And that's what they look at it as. They're just doing their job. Yeah. And I think that it speaks even more for their character.
It does. All the great heroes that I've talked to throughout my career have never acted like heroes, have never thought of themselves as heroes. And I think that's how heroes are. They are heroes, and they don't see themselves that way. It's what other people think of them for what they've done. So let's talk about Impact a Hero. What are some of the events that they put on that the public can help with?
Well, obviously the big event, they have a huge weekend here in Houston. Like I said before, it was just this past weekend, and they have, a golf tournament on the Monday that just passed. They had the gala on Sunday night, a Diamonds and Denim gala. So it's actually on the floor of Reliance Stadium. So they obviously take the grass up, and then they kind of put a whole stage up, and it's actually pretty cool for, all the military to come in there and be inside the football stadium, and we're inside where we work, and we're kind of honoring them. So that's pretty cool for me to be able to experience with them. And then before that, on that Saturday morning, was the 5K run. They have a walk, wheel, and run for everybody. It's a family event. We bring our kids out. Me and my wife do it every year. And we're pushing the strollers, and everybody's out there having a good time. They have an award ceremony after. They have a little concert. So it's just a fun weekend for everybody here in Houston to be able to participate, show their support for our wounded vets. But they do a ton of fundraising throughout the year. The founder, Dick Lynch, he lives up in Ohio. He is just the nicest guy and the most giving guy in the world. He did not serve, but his passion for being able to help out currently serving and wounded vets just is second to none. And when I did meet them and was able to kind of get involved with them back in 2008, I knew this is the organization that I wanted to be able to focus a lot of my efforts on.
And the Impact a Hero, they have a website, impactahero.org. I know they help wounded vets, and people can just go on that website and donate or figure out a way to get involved and link up with the different events going on. Is that right?
Yes, and they do hold other events throughout the year, and that is their website, impactahero.org. It just gives tons of information as well, and you can get a real feel for how this organization operates, and they are truly just about the military and the vets, and it's all about trying to get them the best experience once they get home to kind of acclimate them back into the normal lifestyle, being able to kind of let them know, yeah, you are appreciated, but listen, let's get you back to a normal way of life. Let's kind of bring you back down to reality. Because it's definitely something that none of us can ever relate to, what they have to go through on a day-in and day-out basis once they do get back in the States from dealing with what they dealt with and what they've seen over there. It's something that we can never, ever put ourselves in their shoes. So we just have to be able to kind of help them and be able to kind of transition, get back in a regular lifestyle.
All right. Well, we appreciate the information. Chris Myers, he's the Center for the Houston, Texas, and we really appreciate all the work you're doing and the work that the other teams that we've talked to are doing as well, the Astros, the Dynamos. All of these teams all of these Houston teams are going out and helping our veterans and doing great things for them. And we really appreciate the way that you guys are giving back. You've got so many fans around the city that love to come out and watch the games. They sit on their couches and watch the games, and, they just feel like you're a part of their life, and for you to give back in such a profound way to people who have been wounded and are serving in our military currently and who are veterans of our military. It's just a really wonderful thing that you're doing, and we appreciate the way that the teams are supporting our Houston veterans. So thank you very much, Chris.
Absolutely. That's just kind of the way it's supposed to be. I just want everyone to know it's not like I said before, it shouldn't be just a one or two holiday around the year. It should be year-round that we're able to kind of honor these men and women. So thank you guys for having me, though.
All right, we appreciate it. Chris Myers, Center for the Houston, Texas. We hope all of you out there have a safe and wonderful Memorial Day weekend. We take Memorial Day weekend and Veterans Day weekend every year and really try to talk about things other than real estate. We'll be back here next Sunday between 11 and 12 to talk more about real estate. And if you've got a real estate question, you can call it in at 281-882-8088. Thanks for listening to Houston Real Estate Radio.